Here we go. Good. So this is a kind of a close-up view of what my focus looks like. As you can see, it's made from a bookshelf, which has had one of the shelves taken out. And instead of having the shelf there, it's got a double height area where I can put pictures on the back and I can set items down on the surface and all kinds of things that I find meaningful and important. So I'm going to start from this corner and go from there. These things, which you will see throughout my focus, are little glow-in-the-dark, quote, pebbles, unquote. I believe they're made out of plastic, that were sent to me right after the fire that nearly burned our house down and burned a significant part of my town down. I didn't want to have any fire on my focus, so but I wanted some sort of light there. So a member of the Atheopagan group very kindly sewed this little bag over here and sent me this bag full of these little glow-in-the-dark pebbles, which was really a great addition. This section is all about antiquity and memory. The graven slate is with the triple spiral that's found in the Newgrange Passage grave in Ireland. And this is actually a Viking-style cloak pin that I also bought in Ireland, made of silver. This is a tool that was found in the Laguna de Santa Rosa, which is an area near me where the southern Pomo and Coast Miwok people lived before European settlers and colonists got here. I've got a little crystal here. I'm not a big crystal person, but this one's very clear and pretty, and so I put it there. And this is a tourmaline crystal as well. And then this is a bolo tie pin that was owned by my grandfather. And finally, in the background is my Acheulean hand axe that I've written about before, which is at least 200,000 years old. It's a very old tool, and it speaks to me of antiquity and memory and tradition. Also, the Venus of Willendorf here, talking about old pre-Christian traditions, and then a hand-painted replica of cave paintings that I've also put in here as part of a reminder of those principles and ideas. Back here is a little vase, a little brass vase, which contains memories from places that I've been. There's a little heather from Scotland in there. There's some barley from a ritual that I did probably 20 years ago. And just something to kind of carry the feeling of those experiences forward into my experience of my focus. The bottle back here was full of a Yule mead that I used to make every year. And it's kind of reminiscent of handicraft and of the wonderful crafts that we can do as a part of our pagan practice. And there's a chalice full of water, of course. This little bowl is what contains my seasonal symbols. So right now it's got this wheat and a sun and some other symbols. There's a bunch of acorns in there and a dried rosebud from a garland that I was given. And the little vial is with ashes from various fire circle ceremonies that I've been to over the years. All to remind me that this is now the summer's end season, and that is the set of symbols and metaphors that I'm celebrating right now. Got a candle for some light. These are Mardi Gras beads that were given to me by a member of my circle as a way of bringing celebration and abundance and happiness and surprise into my life. This is a little pin that also reminds me of my trip to Ireland and the British Isles, and my clerical Atheopagan collar pin that I just received recently that I'll be using in case I need to use it to marry people or do funerals or any of that kind of thing. I draw a tarot card every day. And you can see that the current one is the Two of Pentacles. Kind of juggling a lot of things, which I am doing now, which is especially difficult with only one hand. What else have we got here? This is a sexuality symbol. It's a double-headed kind of phallic symbol from Thailand that was brought back for me. And I'm not sure what all the symbology means on it, but it's definitely about sexuality. It's got a male and a female figure mating on there. This is my ritual knife that I made. It's got an obsidian blade, and the handle is from a piece of wood that I found in my favorite state park. You see how it fits my hand perfectly in kind of a pistol grip. And I laid in the symbols there. The other half of this piece of wood is still embedded in the ground in that park, so I feel that connection whenever I use it. Got a little place to burn some incense on an oyster shell. This is the symbol of Dark Sun, which is my magical circle that's been meeting for 27 years. And also a symbol of the sun over here, another sort of sun symbol. This is my ritual shaker that I use in rituals a lot. I find a shaker is a very useful tool for keeping rhythm and for maintaining engagement in the experience of a ritual circle. This is a trip to Nepente in the Big Sur coast area of California, which my wife and I took a while back, and it was a wonderful trip, and I just wanted to remind myself of that wonderful connected feeling. This is science. It's a theodolite compass, all in brass, kind of a Victorian looking thing. And on top of it is a Mobius strip, that mysterious one-sided two-dimensional surface that's kind of an anomaly mathematically of what we ordinarily experience. When you cut it in half, you don't get two loops. What you get is one longer loop, and if you cut it in half again, then you get two linked longer loops. And there are the members of Dark Sun, my circle. And here is a celebration of music, one of my favorite madrigals. The first line of the tenor line is there, and that's a picture of the soprano Montserrat Caballé, Montserrat Figueres, singing and just looking like she's transported in the act of singing. There is my Atheopagan rosary, which I use sometimes to do meditative prayers with. And here are more sort of fertility and sexuality kinds of symbols up along here. This is a garland from a May Day celebration that I went to this year, and of course it's drying now, but it reminds me that was a lovely day. All back here you have various landscapes that I am in love with. The various different qualities of Sonoma County, whether it's the green quality of winter or the gold quality of the summer. River rafting on the Rogue River in Oregon, the ocean, the earth itself, the Grand Canyon, a side canyon in Grand Canyon, the redwoods, which of course are nowhere else on earth but where I live. Just reminders of things that move me and inspire me. And there is my recently added Atheopagan bumper sticker with that slogan that is so meaningful to me. And a little bit of something about costuming and historical reenactment. I'm a Renaissance and Dickens fair person, and we also have done many other sorts of theme and costume parties over time. So that's a fun thing that I like to do, and I like to remind myself of it. I'm sure, and there's the program for Moonmeet last year. There will be a new one this year. I am sure that there are things that I am missing here, which you can ask about if you'd like in the comments. But what I'd like to do now is to move down to the lower part of the focus, which is the underworld. And this is where I keep all my beloved dead. That is the 5-year-old son of my goddaughter who drowned in the Russian River a few days before he was to start kindergarten. It was a terrible experience in my life. And that's Morning Glory Zell, who I was very connected with, during her life. My mother is here. A leader of the environmental movement locally, Bill Cordham, is there. He and I worked together for 10 years. And there are lots of symbols of ancestry and memory and transformation. This is a human femur that I bought. It's a human femur. It makes a perfectly good wand or scepter during a hallows ceremony. And this is cedar, which will be used to light the All Hallows fire. I cut it on Halloween of this last year. I always cut a piece of vegetation from a plant in a cemetery and let it dry for a year, and then use that to light the Hallows fire the following year. And you see skulls and bones and Dia de los Muertos figures, all of that kind of stuff, to remind us that this is a one-way trip. These surgical instruments were my mother's. She was an RN, and I use them sometimes in just sort of maintenance of the focus. Here's my badge from Pantheacon this year. This is a stole which we wore in the ritual that we did in Pantheacon, which was organized by myself and John Halstead in 2017. So that is, in short order, the contents of my focus. If you have questions about it, I'm sure that I would be happy to answer them. I didn't mention the D&D dice. I'm a gamer, have been since before the Dungeon Master's Guide for Dungeons & Dragons was even ever published. So I have fond memories of many adventures, both as a game master and as a player. And these are from the original set of dice that came with the Dungeons & Dragons box way back in the 70s. So they're kind of antiques and antiquities themselves. So that's it. Hold on a moment. I'm going to flip back to the other direction.